what is the problem with the way we are currently managed? So, management is not simply a problem because of structural issues, although we would say your structure is effectively a strategy. It runs much deeper than that, and it's because it sits on a set of assumptions that run fundamentally contrary to how an organization needs to work these days, to human potential, dignity, worth, etc., including the issue that it defaults to not trusting people. So the current management model assumes people are not sufficiently motivated, capable, creative enough to be able to carry out and fulfill the organizational purpose without oversight and external influence of some sort. And in a fast-moving, highly complex environment like the one we have today, where people are not empowered to be trusted, that is a terminal concern for your organization. Secondly is it reserves decision-making for the few at the cost of the contribution and creative input of the many. So by committing to a structure where only a few of the people are making most of the decisions most of the time, you prevent the majority of the workforce from being able to make calls when necessary, be creative, and be part of what feels more like a genuine team effort. And those scenarios also tend to be characterized by a desire or a supposed necessity to retain information at the top and the center, partly because they won't share it. And doing that prevents everybody else from growing in the skills and experience they need to be able to make those calls when the time inevitably comes, such as promotion. It favors slower, centralized decision making with absolute control, and a lack of supposed vulnerability exists over something else. Channeling decision making inwards and upwards and always creates a delay between an issue arising and the resolution of that issue. Doesn't matter whether it's a customer service problem or a strategic opportunity. And slowly or quickly, that is sufficient alone to kill an organization in today's environment. The next reason the management model is a problem is it puts efficiency and standardization ahead of innovation and adaptability. Standardization and efficiency kill innovation and adaptability because they don't support localized differentiation and creative thinking. They are precisely the two things that work against them. And you cannot have it both ways. You can't have an organizational culture that is focused on efficiency and think your people will show up and be super creative. This change, this shift in the mental model is a significant challenge for management as it stands, because that's where their safety resides. Or so they think. It's not, but that's what they think. The next one is about top-down accountability. Makes for an environment where it is more important to please your boss than it is to fulfill the organizational purpose. Politicking is rife in the current management model, and not just politicking can be positive and negative, but we all know what that means generally. It means negative politics, and a certain type of person generally manages to make their way through the system, not necessarily just on the basis of merit, but on how they can play the game. And unfortunately for those people, the next 5-10 years could become rather challenging. Not necessarily the last one, but the next one is management by objectives. Management by objectives is this idea that the strategy is decided upon, objectives are wrapped around it, and those objectives are cascaded down through the system, and everybody else's job is to get in line with those objectives. So people are being managed by output and objectives that in often cases they haven't been able to contribute to. And this comes at the cost of peer-to-peer relationship, empathy. It chooses process over relationship, and it very quickly ramps up bureaucratization, and bureaucracy is the problem. Extensive bureaucracy, anyway. And lastly, I would say problems basically are answered with more management. The current management model thinks if there is a problem, the answer is to push harder on the same thing with the same solution, which is more management. A bit like in schools, the problem sometimes can feel like the problem to pour a test is more testing, and often the solution is more oblique than that. The answer to today's problems in organizations is not more management. That's often the very thing that caused the problem in the first place.
As always, thank you for your support. Thank you for listening. Subscribe, tell us what you think, and I'll see you next time. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.